सदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतसे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so welcome all of you for today's class on Bhagavad Gita. Before starting, I would like to request from you, any of you can share what we discussed yesterday. Yes, please. Yes, anyone would like to share something? Yes, Akash.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्ण.
प्रभु जी, कल हमने देखा जब श्री कृष्ण उन्हें समझाते हैं अर्जुन को कि तुम्हारे सामने जो भी खड़े हैं उन्हें मारना चाहिए, युद्ध करना चाहिए उनसे. तो अर्जुन उन्हें 5 रीजन देते हैं और अर्जुन उनमें से एक रीजन होता है कि वो बोलते हैं कि अगर हम अपने जो एंसेस्टर्स हैं, पूर्वज हैं और अपने से जो बड़े हैं उन्हें मार देंगे तो फिर हमारे जो
यंगर
जनरेशन होगी उन्हें शिक्षा कौन देगा कि सही गलत क्या है. हाँ, और सही पथ कौन दिखाएगा और भक्ति के मार्ग पर कौन लाएगा उन्हें.
यस.
हाँ, और फिर भगवान ने बताया था, श्री कृष्ण बोलते हैं शायद कि अगर जो कोई भी मेरी शरण में आ जाता है उसे अपने पूर्वजों की जो करते हैं ना पिंडदान वगैरह या कोई करने की जरूरत नहीं रहती और उसकी सारी पीढ़ियां जो हैं तर जाती हैं.
Yes. Okay, very nice. Anyone else would like to say something, or we'll start then? Okay, I'll just briefly give what we discussed yesterday and then we'll continue. Okay, yes, Divyansh, you want to say? Yeah.
Yes, sir. सर, अपन ने कल ये भी देखा कि सर जो अपन मतलब नेचर से लगातार जो है ना लेते रह रहे हैं, जैसे कि सनलाइट, एयर, वाटर, तो सर ये कभी न कभी अपन को पे करना ही पड़ता. मतलब कुछ भी इस दुनिया में मतलब फ्री नहीं है, कभी न कभी फ्री करना मतलब पे करना पड़ता है.
Yes.
और सर अपन ने ये भी देखा कि मतलब जो अपन पिंडदान वगैरह करते हैं तो भगवान मतलब जब अपन पैसे यहाँ से एक दूसरी दुनिया के छोर तक ट्रांसफर कर सकते हैं, तो भगवान मतलब ऐसा चैनल भी बना सकते हैं कि अपन यहाँ पे कुछ अर्पण करके मतलब अपने फोर फादर्स को भी मतलब दे सकते हैं.
Yes, definitely, very nice. So this was a important point we discussed, that within on this earth planet only, if a ordinary human being, if he is able to develop such a system like net banking, by using a person can transfer money from one corner of the world to another corner of the world. So why can't the Supreme Lord can make a system, uh, such a system, so that within the universe he can transfer something. So that is why this process, performance of Pinda, Pindodaka Kriya, which was mentioned by Arjuna in the last verse, that this Pindodaka Kriya will be vanquished if the traditions are vanished. So this is not some mythology. These are all facts, and these were happening. If one properly performs these performances under the guidance of bona fide brahmanas, then he is able to transfer the prasad of Lord Vishnu to his ancestors, purvas, forefathers who are somewhere means entangled in some hellish planets or some ghostly bodies, and they get liberated from that situation of life. But another point was, which we discussed, that because in this process the person is actually transferring the prasad of Lord Vishnu. So in one sense he is transferring the mercy of Lord Vishnu to his forefathers. That is why these forefathers are getting liberated. So if instead of doing this, if one becomes a devotee, means if he follows all the instructions of the Supreme Lord, which are given in the Bhagavad Gita, that means if one is chanting regularly this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reading Bhagavad Gita, understanding the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, then he does not need to perform this Pindodaka Kriya. Although he may also do, there is no restriction for this, but he does not need. Yeah, automatically all of his forefathers, they get liberated. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll see next verses. In the next verse, now Arjuna is telling, Dosarete kulagnanam varna sankara karaka utsadyante jati dharma kula dharmas cha sasvata. So translation and purport. So one of you can read. Okay, Ayush, you can read translation and purport. Are you able to see the screen? Hare Krishna, Ayush.
Hare Krishna.
You can read translation and purport. Then we'll proceed.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
Yes. Next purport.
Purport. Community projects are four orders of human society combined with family welfare activities as they are set forth by the institution of Sanatan Dharma or Varnasma Dharma are designed to enable the human beings to attain his बस इतना ही आ रहा है
नहीं आ रहा है?
ultimate salvation. Therefore, the breaking of the Sanatan Dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in their society, and consequently, people forget the aim of life, Vishnu. Such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to lead into chaos.
Yes. So now the prediction or the consequences of not following the Vedic traditions is being explained by Arjuna. He is telling to Krishna. In the previous verses, Arjuna was telling that, my dear Krishna, if I kill these opposite parties who are elders, who are responsible members of the society to train their children, to train a younger generation into the subject matter of spiritual life, especially Varnashram Dharma, Vedic culture. So if they are killed, then because of this, the younger generations, they will become independent. They will not be having any guidance from elders, and hence they will be habituated wrongly because of becoming independent, and there will be no family traditions, religious traditions, or spiritual culture or Vedic culture will be lost, and because of which there will be increase of unwanted population. Till this point Arjuna explained. So now he is telling what will happen if the unwanted population arises, then what will happen. They will those unwanted population who are the product of uh, such kind of means sense gratificatory activity, so they will also become like those people who will not follow that Vedic traditions, and because of lack of knowledge they will also not follow this proper spiritual path, and hence what will happen, gradually entire community, all the entirety of all the society, it will, there will be faults. That is why he is saying dosha rete kulagna naam varna sankara karaka hai dosha utsadyante jati dharma kul dharmasya sasvata. Jati dharma means community projects. Jati dharma means that varnashram system which I discussed, that we have in our society in Vedic culture. Now it's just for the sake of name only, one uses his caste, but there is no use right now. But earlier in Vedic culture, Jati Dharma and this Kula Dharma means Varna and Ashrama, Varnashram system of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudra, which I explained in detail that how this most scientific division of human society, which was made not according to birth of a person, not depending upon the birth of the person, but depending upon his qualities, his inclination, his natural tendencies, and his actions. Especially these two things. It is mentioned by Lord Krishna himself, Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa, that these four Varnas and Ashramas are divided according to one's Guna and Karma, his qualities and actions, not by birth. One becomes a Brahmana not by birth. Brahmana means intelligent class of people who can understand the spiritual subject matter, who can thoroughly understand the purpose of life, purpose of this creation, and who are able to properly control the mind, and who have um, controlled mind, controlled senses, and who can eventually guide the society. These are called Brahmanas. Not one if simply one is having a thread over his body, and one is able to pronounce few mantras from Vedas. That does not make him a Brahmana. A Brahmana means Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. Brahma Janati means one who understands the absolute truth, one who knows, one who is having the knowledge about the Supreme Lord, its creation, and the purpose behind it, the goal of life, the proper way to lead the life, and control over senses and mind. And similarly, these same things he can guide, he can give the knowledge of Vedic literatures to others. That makes him a Brahmana. So this Brahmanas, and then Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. Kshatriyas means administrator. Administrator means who can give protection to citizens, including animals also, not just human beings. Earlier in Vedic culture, the society was designed in such a manner that there was no discrimination, even with the animals and plants and trees also. What to speak of having discrimination among human beings. So, and we hear also many examples in our Vedic literatures, Puranas. The examples are mentioned. There was a very great king named King Sibi. Sibi Maharaj, he was king of this planet Earth many millions of years back. So once he was a very mature, very intelligent, and very strict follower of Vedic culture. So his name and fame was spread all over the universe, not only on Earth planet. So once demigods, especially two demigods, Lord Indra and Lord Agni or Varun Dev, I think. So these two demigods, they came to take test for him to take exam. Generally, the demigods, whenever they hear some great person about some great personality, they try to test him by various means. So upon hearing the various glories and good qualities of King Shivi, so these two demigods they came, changing their form. One of them became a vulture, and another one she became a bird, a small bird. So this vulture was running behind this bird uh, to eat this bird. So that bird running all the way, she came near to King Shibi in the palace of King Shibi, and upon seeing the small bird, the king became very compassionate. He understood that she is also my citizen. So he was ready, he was prepared to protect her. And he challenged who is giving fear to this small bird. So then the vulture came. So then King Sibi Maharaj, he said, you cannot eat this bird because she has taken shelter, she has taken proper shelter, and it is my duty to protect my citizen. So then the vulture said, my dear king, I am also your citizen. And right now I am hungry. So you have to protect me also, because I am also your citizen. So if you don't give this bird to eat me, then how will I survive? Then King Sibi said, okay, if you want to eat flesh, then you can take my flesh. As much the that much flesh you can take, the weight equal to the weight of this bird. So then they started measuring the weight of that bird, and the king started cutting his flesh first from legs and hands, and the weight of that bird was increasing. And at last the point came when King Sibi, entirety of his entire body he donated. He was ready to give his entire body to vulture so that he can eat, and the bird can be protected, and the vulture can also eat. And in this way, both of them, the bird and vulture, because both of them are citizen of the king, so both of them can be protected. So that was the attitude of uh, the leaders, the topmost leader of king in Vedic culture. So they had a very equal vision. So when this situation came, the two, this bird and vulture, they revealed their identity, that we are the demigods, and we are very much pleased with your attitude, with your good qualities. So in that way, they went away. But the point is that King Sibi, like King Sibi, there were many great kings in our Vedic culture. Like we hear about Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Lord Ramchandra, and many other kings, Ikshvaku Maharaj, so many kings. They were all great Raj Rishis, and having all the good qualities. They were not only equal towards human beings, but towards all the living beings, because of having a proper understanding that every living being belongs to God. It's not that if some weaker living entity is there, then we can kill him and eat. That was not the understanding of Vedic culture. Everyone has this understanding that everyone, whether he is a human being, whether he is an animal or a plant or trees or even a small ant, also, that small ant is also part and parcel of Supreme Lord. And at a spiritual level, everyone is equal. But of course, in the bodily level, there is differentiation. And that was the differentiation of Varnashram system, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. And similarly, when there was discrimination or differentiation between man and woman, so that was also according to, that was also at the bodily level. That was not to make a woman inferior, not at all. Women were rather, in Vedic culture, women were more respected. Nowadays, nobody has any respect for women because of giving independence to women. Women, they themselves have lost their respect. Nobody is respecting, and they have become more they are in more in danger. They have no safety, and that is why we hear there is the divorce is increasing, suicide rate is increasing, rapes are increasing, and all kinds of unwanted things are increasing. And this is what is being explained by Arjuna over here, that jati dharma and kula dharma, that means this varna and ashram, proper Vedic culture, will be lost. This community projects mean what? Community consists of this people, human beings, animals, plants, species, all these, they make community. And community projects means uh, a project, a planning, a proper scientific system by which all these living entities, human beings, animals, and everyone else is properly given development and growth. That is called jati dharma, that is called community projects. And kula dharma means the same tradition, the same Vedic culture, the knowledge of Vedic culture is promoted over generations. That is called family traditions. But people, after over period of time, because of lack of proper understanding, understanding of scientific system, this scientific division of varnashram dharma, this became just a ritual. And because of this, what happened, the younger generation, because of not getting the proper scientific knowledge behind this, scientific basis behind this, they started neglecting it, saying that this is all mythology, there is no use of accepting these just as rituals. But these are not just rituals, but it has a very scientific basis behind it. Just like, that is why we need to understand whatever practices we do in a spiritual life, or in our home also, whatever we do, so we need to understand why we are doing this. Because if we don't understand that, then we will get very small, very fraction of result only. And over the period of time, it will be lost. Nobody will follow. And even if somebody is doing just for the sake of doing only, he will do very without his putting his heart into it, and he'll do just to complete this somehow or other. And in this way, there will be no use, there will be no benefit out of it. Just like, suppose when you go to college, so, or a school, we do many experiments in physics or chemistry, whatever. So before doing any experiment in our labs, if we are not taught properly the knowledge behind, the science behind it, then what we will see? We will see it in chemistry lab, we will simply see that there are different colors of bottle, different colors of liquid, just meant for playing, just like we play in our festival Holi. So that will become a joke, a fun for the students. There will be no use, and eventually nobody will take serious anything serious about it. But if the students are taught properly the theory behind it, proper science, proper chemical formulas behind it, then they understand what is the value of performing all these experiments, and what is the result, and what are the different symptoms, whatever is the result is coming, what is the significance. Then they understand and they are inspired to do it, and they get the benefit also. Similarly, in our Vedic life also, in our whatever practices we do, just like we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we read Bhagavad Gita, and we visit temple and we worship the Lord. So we should understand the theory behind it, the science behind it, why we are doing these things. Then what happened? Then we get the complete benefit out of it, and also it continues for longer time. So this is what is mentioned by Arjuna over here, which is a very important point. He's focusing, the main focus of Arjuna is that if the elder generation, they are killed, then there will be no one who will give the proper knowledge of Vedic culture to younger generation. And in this way, this Vedic culture, only there will be some rituals which will be followed over few generations, and after that it will be destroyed. And then eventually what will happen? This most beneficial, scientifically designed system of varna and ashrama, a spiritual system, it will be eventually destroyed, and nobody will follow it. And then what will happen? Dosha, there will be many faults. Dosha rete kulagna nam, he is saying. Then there will be many faults. And this we can see, observe in today's society. that because most of the population, especially out of India, most of the population, they don't have uh, any knowledge of some or complete knowledge about the Vedic culture, spiritual life. So what is happening? There is no proper scientific division of human society, and everyone is just leading his life according to his own desire, independently. But what is the result? When somebody hears that, oh, independent life is so beautiful, so nice, so wonderful, and India, we are so much India, we think that India is backward country because of having so many rules and regulations of Vedic culture, so many rituals to follow. There is no independent. But if you look at the data, you will find the pupil, when the more the pupil they become independent, the more they suffer, the more crimes increases. There is a increase of crime, there is increase of natural disturbances, increase of uh, uh, this suicide rate is increasing, and people are becoming more depressed, more diseased, because when a person is depressed, if his mental health is not good, then he becomes diseased also. So we are seeing over the uh, past many years, for 50 years, 80 years, 100 years, so what is happening? Few things are just increasing in an exponential graph, like depression rate, suicide rate, and crime rate, murder, and this hospitals are increasing. Why? Because people are becoming more diseased. So this is not a sign of advancement that hospitals are increased. Hospitals are increased means patients are increasing. That is why hospitals are increasing. So uh, and the age is reducing. People are feeling more depressed, and over and above, everyone is almost unhappy, in an unhappy condition of life. Diseases are increasing, natural disturbances are increasing. It is said that in last 40 years uh, there were so many natural disturbances that before that, even in 1000 years, that many natural disturbances, natural disasters did not happen. So what is the reason? The sinful activity is done by uh, people who have become independent because of lack of proper knowledge of Vedic culture, is the cause of all kinds of troubles all over the world. And we in India also, we can see in many multi cities where especially young generations who have full facility, full freedom to do anything in their life. So they are a younger generation, they are more frustrated, having more depression over their mind, and there is more suicide rate. So it is very logical, and it is very simple to see that when one does not, when one does not have the proper knowledge, when one is not having the superior guidance, and one is not dependent upon the Supreme Lord, has not taken shelter of the Supreme Lord and knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, then these are the results of becoming independent. But outwardly, what it appears, that if a person is completely free, completely independent, then he is so happy. He can do whatever he wants. He has all the freedom to do. Nobody is there to stop him. But this is not a good result. Why? The main reason behind this is that outwardly, externally, we may become free, independent by not try to follow the Vedic rules and regulations. But what is happening? We become more dependent, and we become more slave to desires of our mind, because mind is always there. Nobody can become free from the clutches of mind. And rather, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which externally seems that there are few rules and regulations, one has to follow some rules and regulations. Externally, it appears that there are so many rules and regulations. Where is the freedom? But this putting these rules and regulation is actually a discipline for the mind. It acts like a discipline for the mind to control the mind, so that we become free from the control of the mind. You are able to understand what we are discussing. This is very scientific. Just like suppose if a student who is studying in his school or college, wherever, so if a student is not put into some rules and regulation by the college authority and some discipline, then what happens? He becomes independent, and then what happens? He becomes a source of complete disturbances for the management there in school or college. They become completely frustrated from the independent activities of the student, and then what happens? Everything is destroyed. So in order to make the college successful, there is requirement of putting rules and regulation over them. Then they will be in control, and then the college can grow nicely. Similarly, in order to grow ourselves properly, in order to advance ourselves properly, so that really we can become free, really we can become attain peace of mind and happiness, we need to put rules and regulations over the mind, that you cannot do such and such thing, you must do such and such thing. Rules and regulation means there are certain do's and certain don'ts. Certain things we must follow, we must do, and certain things we should try, we should restrict our mind not to do. And these are very simple. It's not that one has to it is very difficult to follow, because these are very simple, which are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. What you have to do, you have to chant Hare Krishna. Do's are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. And taking knowledge of Bhagavad Gita means hearing such classes on Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavad Gita, and following the rules and regulations means eating simple prasadam, food, whatever simple food, not complex food, and trying to have a simple lifestyle, simple habits. Simple habits means try to keep your mind and body clean. For cleaning of mind, we have Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and for cleaning of body, we should take regular bath. So these are few rules and regulations which everyone should follow. And there are a few don'ts. Don'ts means we have few rules like no intoxication, no meat eating, no illicit connection, no gambling. So these are few rules, small rules. If one can follow, then very naturally he can control the mind, and then he can become independent actually. Just like I'll give very small example, you can understand this point very well. By following the rules and regulation, we actually become free and independent. That is why these are called as regulative principles of freedom. These rules and regulations given in the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, like chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reading Bhagavad Gita, not eating unnecessary things which are not required for our health also and for our spiritual growth also. These rules and regulations are regulative principles for freedom. Just like if you want to drive freely all over India, then you must follow the traffic rules and regulations. So if any citizen of a country, if he follows all the rules and regulations of traffic laws, then he is free, completely independent to drive anywhere in India. He can get license for any vehicle also. But if somebody tries to externally become free, externally become independent, then what will happen? And if he breaks the traffic laws, then what will happen? The traffic policemen, they will catch him, put him into jail, or maybe cancel his license. He will not be further allowed to drive. So this will happen. So what is better? What is best? To follow the traffic laws and become free and completely independent to drive all over India, or to break the traffic laws and become and there is no your rights are taken away to drive. What is better? What do you think? Anyone can answer?
To follow the rules and regulations.
Yeah. So following the rules and regulation is a more better option. Does everybody agrees? Whoever agrees, you can raise your hand virtually. There is one option. you might be knowing. In June, there is one option. Yes. Okay, very nice. So that means you are able to, I hope you are able to understand. This is very simple point, that following the rules and regulation makes our life easier. And every aspect of in our life, we can observe this. Just like if somebody is diseased, so if he simply follows the prescriptions, what are the prescriptions? Prescriptions is nothing but some rules and regulation given by the doctor. So if a diseased person, he follows the prescription given by the doctor, some rules and regulation. Doctor also, he gives some do's and some don'ts. Do's means he gives some medicine. Okay, you eat this medicine at this time, means morning, evening, afternoon, two medicines, whatever is there. So he prescribes, that is do's. And don'ts means he says you don't eat this. You don't means sleep under air condition or under cooler. So whatever, some prescriptions he gives. So these the rules and regulations. So if the diseased person, he follows these rules regulation, what will happen? He'll become free from the disease. And if he says no, I want to become completely free, nobody can stop my freedom. What is this nonsense? What is this doctor? He is putting so many rules and regulation over me. So I don't agree. So if he does like this, then what will happen? He will suffer more. Just like especially there is a disease TB, tuberculosis. So there is a the treatment is, there is a course of 6 months, and doctors, they are very strict about this, that the patient, he must take the prescribed medicine at the prescribed time. And if he does not follow that, then the doctor, they raise hand. Then they say, we don't guarantee whether he will live or not. So if a person who has TB, and if he wants to get rid of his disease, then he has to follow. He must follow. There's no question of option. If he is willing to live, and if he has decided no, I want to die, then he may choose. Similarly with diabetes, there are a diabetic patient. So if doctor says you cannot eat sugar, means he may allow somewhat, that means he puts some rules and regulation over that you can eat only this much amount of sugar in a week. And if he exceeds that limit, then doctor says then you may not live. So this we hear everywhere. So everywhere there is rules and regulation. And the other day I was giving the example of our own body, that we have to follow so many rules and regulation just to eat, just to breathe, just to walk. We have to follow so many rules and regulation. And if you don't follow, then what will happen? We will be put into trouble. Just like in this pandemic time of this pandemic period of Corona. So people are suggested that you maintain social distancing, you wear mask, you sanitize your hands, try to keep your hands and legs clean. Do not touch your mouth, nose, eyes and ears with your hands. So these are rules and regulation. And if somebody says no, I don't care for these rules and regulation, and he disobeys, then what will happen? He may get affected with coronavirus, and then he may not be able to live. So these rules and regulation are very important to follow. So right now we are also in a disease condition of life. What is our disease? Our disease is disease within the mind. We have so many unwanted things, anarthas. The other day I was explaining that we have anarthas. Anarthas means something unwanted or disturbing elements within our mind. So everyone has this. Nobody can say that I'm free from these disturbing elements. What are those disturbing elements? This lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, madness. So these 6 things, especially these 6 things, these are disturbing elements. So these are our disease. And we have a perfect doctor, the Supreme Lord Krishna. He is perfect doctor. He has given the prescription. in the Bhagavad Gita with some do's, rules, and some regulations. So if we try to follow, if we try to understand and then follow it, then we can become free from this disease, and then actually we will become completely free. So this is a very important point Arjuna is putting here, that, but of course Arjuna, although he is putting a very logical, reasonable points here, but these are all at the level of these are all at material level. For the Lord Krishna, when he will start explaining, he will explain at more higher level that why you should fight. So that will cover in the second chapter. But right now, the whatever is being mentioned by Arjuna, this is very important to understand, that he that means he could see the consequences for not following these proper Vedic traditions. So this is what in this verse, and we'll proceed. Before proceeding further, I would like to request, if you have any questions, whatever we discussed till now, you may ask, or if you want to comment or you want to add something over here, you are welcome. Okay. Yes, anyone is having anything to ask or comment? Yes, anything? No? Okay. So I hope you are means able to understand today's means the point which I am emphasizing upon. The point is very simple, that the rules and regulations of spiritual life which are given, which are mentioned in our Bhagavad Gita, text of Bhagavad Gita, these are not to bound us. These are not some kind of rituals to make us dependent, to make us bound, but these are the rules and regulation given by the Supreme Lord, who is our well-wishing Father, Supreme Father, just to make us free from our unwanted situations of life, disturbed conditions of life. So we should try to take full advantage of it. Okay, and if we properly try to understand these teachings through proper channel, and then we can understand, we can follow this. Okay, so I'll not go ahead because this will take time. So I'll stop here only, because next text 43. Okay, so thank you very much. If anyone has any question, you can ask, otherwise we'll stop. Yes? No? Okay. So thank you very much, and I'll request that you keep chanting this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra regularly, whatever is comfortable with all of you according to your circumstances. You try to chant and be connected to these classes. We'll discuss more in detail. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.